I always start out, and I think it's very important that the MSU community knows that their safety is our top priority. Our mission statement says that, and we live by it every single day, every single call. Our mission is to provide a safe environment for our students, for our faculty, for our staff, and for our visitors. For the past week, MSU Police and Public Safety has been investigating a malicious destruction of property complaint. And this has been a focus of the location has been Wells Hall here on campus. And I wanted to just take a second to describe what Wells Hall is. It is an academic building, and it houses classrooms and offices. And it also houses the Department of Mathematics, English, and Languages here on campus. It is our largest academic facility. It has up to 5 and 6 floors, depending on which wing, and there are 4 wings in this building. In these incidents, they've all been involved with an unknown substance being left on the flooring or on a door throughout the Wells Hall facility. On Sunday, April 26, around 9:30 p.m., MSU Police was dispatched to Wells Hall on a possible trespassing complaint. Our officers made contact with an individual on the 5th floor, and when they made contact with that individual, they found in his possession numerous bags. They were book bags, they were duffel bags, but there was about 4 or 5 of those bags on his possession. As a result of their investigation, those officers obtained a search warrant so they could search the contents of those bags. By the time they got the search warrant around 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday now, on April 27th, the officers conducted that search, and during that search they found several labeled and unlabeled containers of an unknown liquid substance inside. Due to the fact that they were unsure what those substances were, they requested some additional public safety resources. So they backed out. We got some additional law enforcement resources that are specialized to help us identify these types of substances. So all this was occurring early on Monday morning. And because of the presence of those unknown substances, the MSU Police Department made the decision to evacuate Wells Hall so that we could have a better understanding of what these substances were. So we did use our emergency notification system and sent that out to the university to notify them that we were evacuating Wells Hall, and then we started putting additional law enforcement resources and other public safety resources inside that facility to conduct a full search of that facility to see if that we could locate any other types of substances in there. The Michigan State University Emergency Operations Center was also activated at our EOC to help us coordinate the law enforcement and public safety resources. Not only did the MSU Police Department conduct that search, we also had the MSU Environmental Health and Safety Division, which is also known as EHS here on campus. As a result of those searches, we did not find any additional substances on our secondary search. Our investigation continued throughout the night, and we were able to formulate some additional information and conducted some additional search warrants. Due to some new information that was obtained, even though we had informed the MSU community that Wells Hall was going to open up at 7 o'clock in the morning, again, with an overabundance of caution, we wanted to make sure that that facility was safe based upon new information that we had received. We then conducted a second full search of the Wells Hall facility to try and locate any additional substances. And again, at that time, it wasn't just the police department, it was also environmental health and safety officials that helped us in that as well. As a result of the ongoing investigation, the MSU Police Department developed probable cause to arrest the subject on misdemeanor charges at that time of malicious destruction of property, based again on probable cause. We continue to investigate this crime, and today we did present our criminal investigation to the Ingham County Prosecutor's Office. The Ingham County Prosecutor did review that case and decided that the elements were there to issue a 2-count felony criminal charges for count 1 of malicious destruction of property of a building over $20,000. That is a felony. And count 2 was a felony controlled substance to operate or maintain a lab involving methamphetamine, otherwise known as meth. That subject was arraigned today just before 5 p.m. in 54B Court, and that subject was given a $500,000 cash bond, and the accused subject is currently being held at the Ingham County Jail. The suspect has been identified as Zin Tong. That's X as in X-ray, I as in Ida, N as in Nora, Zin Tong. T as in Tom, O as in Ocean, N as in Nora, G as in George. He is a 31-year-old male. Wells Hall is still going to remain closed through Friday, May 1st. And the reason why, even though we had hoped to open Wells Hall on Tuesday, the decision was to ensure that we could continue our investigation, gather evidence, provided ample time not only for the police department but for environmental health and safety to do their remediation and to get our infrastructure planning facilities to remediate the damage that's been caused. So some things need to be removed, cleaned, prepared to have replacement flooring, doors, carpet replaced. And so due to the fact that we did have finals this week, that was also taken into consideration to provide some stability to our students and to our faculty and to lessen the disruption of where and when finals would be held. The agencies that helped the Michigan State University Police Department in this is the East Lansing Fire Department, Michigan State Police, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, known as the FBI, the MSU Environmental Health and Safety, and the Ingham County Prosecutor's Office. I also want to take a second to thank the members of the MSU Police and Public Safety who put in numerous hours since Sunday. We had some officers here over 18 hours working. And it was a nonstop investigation from Sunday until here we are today, still working at it. So I want to thank them for their exhaustive work. And again, stressing that our #1 priority is to provide a safe environment here on campus, and we take that very, very serious. Again, I want to stress that I'm limited to what I can share, but I'd be more than willing to try and answer a few more questions for you.
Yeah, I'll start it. Do we know if the suspect is a student or a faculty member here on campus?
Yeah, due to FERPA rules, I can't comment on that question, unfortunately.
Do we know why the FBI is involved in the investigation?
Yeah, I think that when we didn't know what the substance was, we wanted to ensure that the substances weren't explosives. So I think it's important to state that the substances that we found were all what you would refer to as common products that can be purchased in retail stores, online. They were not explosive. And so that's why we brought in our federal partners until we could understand what we had. Now, again, when I say that this is still an open and active investigation, the investigation hasn't stopped. We have a lot more digital evidence that we're processing. We're waiting for lab results to come back from the MSP crime lab, and so there's a lot more moving parts at this point in time.
How did the suspect access the building? Is that known yet? And is there a possibility he was assisted by anyone in accessing the building?
Well, I think it's, that's all part of the investigation. I think it goes back to knowing and understanding that this is an open campus. We do have time frames that people can access, and normally it's 7 in the morning to 6 p.m. That is the normal business hours. On weekends, this particular facility is closed, but there are events that occur on campus that they do open up this facility. So it'll be part of the investigation, but it is an open building during the day, and that's common here on campus as well.
Was there like an event going on that day that maybe this might have been unlocked?
On Sunday?
Yeah.
I don't have the information readily available if there was another event going on that day. I can tell you on Sunday we had the ISO 5K race, so we had a lot of people here on campus, but I can't specifically state if there was another event on Wells Hall during that day.
You said the complaints started a couple of weeks ago. Were those complaints based off of, was it a trespassing complaint? Was it a theft complaint? Can you elaborate further on what those?
Yeah, in what we were brought in specifically on April 23rd on a complaint of a malicious destruction of property. So they found damage inside of Wells Hall. I also want to point out that during this entire time, we have had the East Lansing Fire Department conducting testing, air control, using different types of equipment and monitors to make sure that the air levels were acceptable, oxygen levels were acceptable. We also had EHS in there conducting tests, running tests, and all of the tests that came back did not rise to a level that the facility or the environment was not considered safe per our fire department and our EHS equipment and testing measures.
You mentioned chemicals and substances too, but was there actual equipment to run a meth lab found on the suspect or in Wells Hall?
Yeah, this is going to be one of those questions I'm not going to be able to get into all of the evidence. I can tell you that the chemicals or the substances that we've identified for you are the ones that were on his person. This was, I guess, within reason is that this individual had these components on him. So he was carrying these components with him at the time that we had interaction with him. So that's the most I can get into that component right now.
And DHS has put a hold on his bond. To what extent is federal law involved in this investigation? And also, if he's a U.S. citizen, are there plans to deport him by the federal?
Yeah, that's not part of our investigation. We don't get into the immigration status of individuals. Our focus is the criminal investigation. We have investigated for criminal crimes. We are using the in-county prosecutor's office to review our criminal charges that they just then issued 2 felony counts on it. That is our focus. We don't get involved in immigration statuses. We don't get involved in the immigration process. We leave that to the law enforcement officials, and so that is not something we are focused on.
Are the chemicals that were found on the suspect, is that what led to the meth charge or what led to the?
Yeah, I think, again, limited to talk here. All I can say is that the information that we presented to the Eaton County Prosecutor's Office was for destruction of property, damage that was done to flooring, doors, fixtures inside the facility, and then the components, the substances that he had on his possession when we made contact with him.
Can you talk a bit about the situation that this has left the community in? You're about to invite families, guests here at the end of the week for convocation, graduation. What do you say to maybe the families or the students who are concerned about safety or the building reopening up this weekend during these events?
Yeah, it goes back to the first steps that we took. We immediately removed access to that facility as soon as we came across substances that we were unsure what they were. Now that we've had the opportunity to identify them, most of these items are household items. They're items that you can obtain at retail stores or online. Some of this stuff is rubbing alcohol, it's nail polish remover, but I think the importance is that those products alone might not be dangerous, but if you start mixing chemicals together, there is a reaction. And I will also tell you that there's been numerous times that we've brought in, the fire department, environmental health and safety, and they have deemed that there is that the environment is safe, or we wouldn't have taken the actions that we have. The reason why it's not open today is because we have spent that time to help us with our investigation, collect evidence, and to allow the teams to remediate and remove the damaged objects, flooring, carpet, fixtures, so they can prepare it to be replaced.
Is there an estimated cost to the replacement process as of now that you can give us?
Yeah, I think that's still a work in progress. I can tell you that it's over the $20,000. So I can't, I know it's a significant amount more than $20,000, but I do not have a good estimate to give at this point in time. It's still part of the evaluation process that MSU officials are going through to determine what that amount is. So can't comment any further because I don't have that number.
Did the security cameras catch him entering the building, and did that help with the investigation, or has it so far?
I will say that our security operations center has been a force multiplier for us. So all these types of technologies are part of our investigation, but I can't get into any further details for the evidentiary purposes.
Did you expect to talk about a meth lab at MSU today?
Well, again, I think, what I wanted to let the MSU community know is that we take this stuff very, very serious, and that their safety is our top priority. And I've been in law enforcement for over 30 years, is that you never know what can happen anywhere at any point in time, but to be prepared and to act quickly. And the actions that MSU has taken from the time that we were made aware of these types of substances or chemicals, we removed access to that facility, and we used the resources that we had to, as quickly as we could, to identify, to ensure that the rest of the MSU community was safe. And so, it's one of those things that we have people from all over the world that come to MSU. And the things that happen here on campus, it's a safe community. When you really look at the issues that we deal on a daily basis, it's preparedness. It's about being proactive and preventive. But from time to time, there are things that happen, and there are things that are criminal of nature, and we will always do our best to ensure that we hold those accountable for their actions. Okay, I want to again thank you for coming, and if there is a takeaway here is that the MSU Police Department and Public Safety acted very quickly once we learned of the substances and unknown substances that were located, to identify them, make sure access to Wells Hall was limited to law enforcement officials and the officials that needed to access that, and that we did quickly put together a criminal investigation, which is still ongoing, and to hold this person accountable. So again, the safety of the MSU community is our top priority and always will be. So thank you for attending today.
Just real quick, can you just say and spell your first and last name just for the record and your title?
Yes.
I caught that at the beginning.
Mike Yankowski, that's Y as in yellow, A-N-K-O-W-S-K-I. I'm the police chief and executive director of public safety here at Michigan State University.